Hello and welcome viewers. You're watching Sansad TV. It's 9 p.m. and this is The News with me, Bhawna Nayar. We have a lot more lined up this Tuesday evening, but let's start with top 5 headlines this evening today. Shinzo Abe given a state funeral in Japan where leaders including Prime Minister Modi pay tributes. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida pledges to work with India for a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific. Setback to Shiv Sena's Uddhav faction. Supreme Court refuses to stay Election Commission's action to decide real Shiv Sena. Constitution bench to hear the matter. Crisis continues in Rajasthan's Congress. Sachin Pilot reaches Delhi. Shashi Tharoor to file nomination papers for Congress President election on 30th September. Fresh action against Popular Front of India. Raids on PFI's location in 7 states. Over 170 people taken into custody. And Asha Parekh to be awarded Dadasaheb Phalke Award for 2020. Noted actress started her 5-decade-long acting life at the age of 10. And after the main headlines, let's take a look at some more important stories that made headlines. Supreme Court starts live streaming of proceedings of 3 constitution benches of the Apex Court. Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission completes 1 year of launch. 24.38 crore IDs created under transformative digital healthcare scheme. Government constantly working towards bolstering all dimensions of national security, says Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Prime Minister Modi to inaugurate development projects worth around 29,000 crore during a 2-day visit to Gujarat from Thursday. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar meets U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd J. Austin in Washington. Both note steady progress in defense, trade, services exercises and military-industrial cooperation. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reviews performance of credit and other welfare schemes for scheduled caste in public sector banks. Prime Minister Modi urges people to take part in contest on MyGov on cheetahs winners to get a trip to see cheetahs. 50 people die in boat accident in the Korsua River in Bangladesh. 24 women and 11 children among the victims. 29 people missing. Asian Development Bank announces assistance of $14 billion for food security in the Asia-Pacific region. Crisis triggered by Russia-Ukraine war and global climate change. And Hurricane Ian becomes a major Category 3 storm, hits Cuba, packing sustained winds of 125 miles per hour earlier Tuesday. Beginning with the lead story of the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday had a fruitful meeting with his Japanese counterpart, Fumio Kishida. He praised the contributions of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in strengthening the bilateral strategic partnership as well as in conceptualizing the vision of a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific region. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida greeted Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Tokyo on Tuesday. During the bilateral meeting, Prime Minister Modi conveyed his deepest condolences for the demise of Abe. He also recalled that when he visited Japan last time, he had a long conversation with Abe.
ये दुख की घड़ी में आज हम मिल रहे हैं और जापान आने के बाद मैं अपने आप को ज़्यादा शोकातुर अनुभव कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि पिछली बार जब मैं आया तब अबे शान से बहुत लंबी बातें हुई थी और कभी सोचा ही नहीं था कि जाने के बाद ऐसी खबर सुनने का नौबत आएगी.
Prime Minister Kishida appreciated Modi's visit to Japan and also his association with Abe.
モディ首相は安倍元総理とともに日印関係の新たな地平を切り開かれました。 私としてもその外交的なその業績をさらに発展させ、自由で開かれたインド太平洋の実現に向け、モディ首相と引き続き緊密に連携をしていきたいと思っております。
The two leaders confirmed to promote bilateral cooperation in various fields. Prime Minister Modi noted Abe's contributions in strengthening India-Japan partnership.
भारत और जापान के संबंधों को नई ऊंचाई पर भी ले गए और बहुत क्षेत्रों में उसका विस्तार भी किया और हमारी दोस्ती ने एक वैश्विक प्रभाव पैदा करने में भी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका निभाई, भारत और जापान की दोस्ती ने। और इन सब के लिए आज भारत की जनता आबे शान को बहुत याद करती है, जापान को बहुत याद करती है। भारत एक प्रकार से आबे शान को मिस कर रही है।
Kishida expressed his intention to continue working with Prime Minister Modi to realize a free and open Indo-Pacific, building on the diplomatic legacies of former Prime Minister Abe, the Japanese Prime Minister's office said in a statement. Bureau Report, Sansad TV. Moving on, in a setback to Uddhav Thackeray faction, the Supreme Court has refused to stay the proceedings before the Election Commission on claims over the original Shiv Sena. The Apex Court allowed the Election Commission to go ahead with the hearing of Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde Group's plea on seeking recognition as the real Shiv Sena and allocation of the party bow and arrow pole symbol to it. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, heading a 5-judge constitution bench, rejected the plea of the Uddhav Thackeray-led faction, seeking to restrain the EC from deciding the Shinde's group claim over the original Shiv Sena. And in affairs, the Supreme Court has started live streaming of its constitution bench proceedings for the public. The hearings before 3 constitution benches of the Apex Court can be watched on its platform webcast.gov.in/SC India. In a unanimous decision taken at a recent full court meeting headed by the CJI, the Apex Court decided to live stream proceedings of all constitution bench hearings from September 27. The decision was taken 4 years after the path-breaking announcement by the then Chief Justice of India, Deepak Mishra. India has set a target of Rs 1.75 lakh crore turnover in defence manufacturing by 2025, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said today. He asserted that boosting domestic production of military equipment is a major focus of the government. Rajnath Singh said the government has set aside around Rs 85,000 crore in this year's defence budget for procurement of military equipment from domestic firms. He said the move is part of efforts to support the domestic defence industries.
2022-2023 के लिए 68% यानी लगभग 85,000 करोड़ कर दिया गया है और उसमें से भी 25% राशि केवल डोमेस्टिक प्राइवेट सेक्टर के लिए रिजर्व्ड है.
Moving on, senior Congress leader Shashi Tharoor will file nomination for the party's president post on 30th September at 11 a.m. Congress Central Election Authority Chairperson Madhusudan Mistry said this today. According to a notification issued by the party on Thursday, the process for filing nominations for the election will be held from 24th to 30th September. Voting will take place on 17th October and the results will be announced on 19th October. And now talking about political crisis in Rajasthan, party troubles continued for the Congress in Rajasthan on Tuesday. While former Deputy Chief Minister of the state, Sachin Pilot, arrived in Delhi, state Congress MLAs met at Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot's residence in Jaipur. The crisis in Rajasthan was triggered on Sunday evening in the wake of the legislature party meeting of the Congress to decide Gehlot's successor. Supporters of Gehlot did not attend the meeting and instead met Speaker C.P. Joshi to submit their resignation. More than 170 people allegedly linked with the Popular Front of India were detained in raids across 7 states today. Conducted mostly by state police teams, the raids were spread across Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, Gujarat, Delhi, Maharashtra, Assam and Madhya Pradesh. In UP, the raids across 26 districts were jointly carried out by the Anti-Terrorist Squad, Special Task Force and the local police simultaneously. While 25 people were arrested in Assam and Maharashtra, 57 were detained in Uttar Pradesh. 30 people were detained in Delhi, 21 in Madhya Pradesh, followed by 10 in Gujarat. Several people were also arrested in Karnataka. The crackdown comes 5 days after similar pan-India searches against the group. Multi-agency teams spearheaded by the National Investigation Agency arrested 106 PFI leaders and activists from 15 states for allegedly supporting terror activities in the country.
उत्तर प्रदेश के जनपदीय पुलिस, एसटीएफ तथा एटीएस के द्वारा संयुक्त रूप से प्रदेश के 26 जनपदों में एक साथ संस्था के पदाधिकारियों एवं उसके सदस्यों के ठिकानों पर रेड की गई, जिसमें कुल 57 व्यक्ति हिरासत में लिए गए हैं।
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin held talks in Washington today. The two leaders discussed new opportunities for bilateral defense industrial cooperation. They also committed to expanding information sharing and logistics cooperation to drive deeper operational coordination between the U.S. and Indian militaries. Austin and Jaishankar also discussed issues like Russia's war in Ukraine, Indo-Pacific and maritime challenges, among other matters of regional importance. Jaishankar also met with U.S. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo. They discussed issues like resilient supply chains, Indo-Pacific economic framework, high technology cooperations, semiconductors and business promotion. On a two-day visit to Gujarat, a team of Election Commission reviewed poll preparedness of the state for forthcoming assembly election. Addressing the media in Gandhinagar, Rajiv Kumar said that 51,782 polling booths will be set up in 182 assembly constituencies. 4.83 crore eligible voters will vote in the assembly polls in Gujarat. Kumar also stated that every candidate with criminal background will have to advertise their criminal record on social and print media. Let's listen in.
पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज, कैंडिडेट, सिटीजन्स की भागीदारी से पारदर्शी बनाया जाए, इसके लिए बहुत सारी ट्रांसपेरेंट प्रोसेसेस इंप्लीमेंट किए जाएंगे, जिसमें इलेक्टरल रोल के रिवीजन के समय में हर बूथ में क्या वोटर्स की संख्या बढ़ी, क्या घटी, इसकी स्पष्ट सूचना सबको है, कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट कर सकता है. देयर इज ए स्पेसिफिक फॉर्मेट.
Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar described India as heaven for tourism and asked the Indians to explore domestic tourist destinations first before looking at international travel. Addressing the National Tourism Awards in New Delhi, the Vice President termed tourism a key driver of economic growth and employment generation in the country. He presented the award for Best State in Comprehensive Development of Tourism category to Uttarakhand Tourism Minister Satpal Maharaj. Referring to the nation's long civilizational history and rich cultural heritage, he underlined that most of the tourist places in the country have a deep connect with our history, folk arts and ancient texts.
Something amazing you'll find. Different region, different language, different religion, different cuisine, but there is that innate connect. And that is the sublimity of our culture. Ranging from the snow-capped peaks of Himalayas, sandy beaches of Odisha, deserts of Rajasthan, deltaic region of Sundarbans, tea gardens of Assam, Darjeeling, backwaters of Kerala, and these are facets only to name a few.
An alert has been sounded for people living in the low-lying areas along the banks of the Yamuna. Water level has risen to 206.16 meters above the danger mark of 205.33 meters. This is the highest ever increase this year after incessant rains in the upper catchment areas. People are being shifted to higher places. Arrangements have been made for their stay in government schools and night shelters. This is the second time in 2 months that authorities evacuated people from the low-lying areas. In Telangana now, heavy rains triggered waterlogging in several districts including Hyderabad. Roads were flooded in many areas of Hyderabad city, affecting the traffic. People faced hardships in many parts of Banjara Hills, Jubilee Hills, Ameerpet and Punjagutta. Rain has been forecast in many districts for the next 24 hours. And veteran actor Isha will be honoured with the Dadasaheb Phalke Award for 2020, the highest recognition in the field of Indian cinema. This was announced by Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting Anurag Thakur. The 79-year-old actor will be presented with the award during the 68th National Film Awards ceremony on Friday. An eminent actor with career spanning close to 5 decades, Isha started her acting career at the age of just 10. She has starred in over 95 films including Dil De Ke Dekho, Kati Patang, Teesri Manzil, Baharon Ke Sapne, Pyar Ka Mausam and Karwan.
दादासाहेब फाल्के अवार्ड इस बार आशा पारिक जी को चुना है। प्रख्यात फिल्म अभिनेत्री है जिन्होंने 10 वर्ष की आयु में फिल्मों में काम करना शुरू किया और प्रख्यात फिल्म निर्देशक विमल रॉय जी ने उनको सबसे पहले मां फिल्म में लॉन्च किया था।
And time now to look at other news from across the nation. President Draupadi Murmu today inaugurated the integrated cryogenic engine manufacturing facility in Bengaluru. The facility under the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited will cater to the entire rocket engine manufacturing under one roof for the India Space Research Organisation, ISRO. The facility houses 70 high-tech equipment and testing facilities. It has been developed under an MOU signed between HAL and ISRO. A constitution bench led by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud on today agreed to start hearing the dispute between the centre and Arvind Kejriwal-led Delhi government for control over bureaucrats in the capital from November 9. In May, a 3-judge bench led by Chief Justice Ramana had in a judgment referred to a constitution bench the limited question concerning services or bureaucracy for an authoritative pronouncement. The Supreme Court on Monday issued a direction to the Agra Development Authority to immediately halt all commercial activities which come within the radius of 500 meters from the peripheral wall of the Taj Mahal. The direction came after an application moved by a group of shop owners who had been allotted area outside the 500-meter radius to run their businesses. The Supreme Court Collegium, led by Chief Justice of India Umesh Lalit, in its meeting held on September 26, recommended the elevation of Justice Dipankar Datta, Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court, as a Supreme Court judge. Justice Datta, who has been a senior judge at the Calcutta High Court, will be elevated to the Apex Court after the central government clears his appointment and issues a notification in this regard. The Supreme Court today reserved its verdict on a batch of pleas challenging the validity of the 103rd Constitution Amendment, providing 10% reservation to economically weaker persons in admissions and government jobs. A 5-judge Constitution bench headed by Chief Justice Umesh Lalit reserved the verdict after the marathon hearing that lasted for 6.5 days. Slipping into a very short break here, lots more coming up on the other side. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to Sansad TV.
संसदीय गतिविधियों से जुड़ी हर खबर, संसदीय समितियों पर एक नजर। राष्ट्रपति, उपराष्ट्रपति, प्रधानमंत्री और लोकसभा अध्यक्ष के प्रमुख कार्यक्रम, संसदीय प्रशिक्षण की खबरों का साप्ताहिक ब्यौरा। पार्लियामेंट दिस वीक हर शुक्रवार शाम 6:30 बजे।
क्या आप किसी कानूनी समस्या से घिरे हैं? नहीं पता क्या करें? क्या कहता है कानून? क्या हैं आपके अधिकार? समझिए कानून की बारीकियों को कानून की पाठशाला में, सिर्फ संसद टीवी पर।
Welcome back after the break. You're watching the news and time now for all the updates from Russia-Ukraine war front. Voting concluded in Russian-held regions of Ukraine on the referendum on joining Russia. The balloting on Tuesday was held at polling stations in the 4 Ukrainian regions partly controlled by Moscow: Kherson, Luhansk, Donetsk and Zaporizhia. A senior Kremlin official has issued a warning that Russia is prepared to use nuclear weapons to hold a Ukrainian push to reclaim Russia-occupied areas. Kiev has condemned the vote, and the West has said it will not recognize the outcome of what it regards as illegal sham referendums. The referendum is expected to serve as a pretext for their annexation by Moscow. Russian missiles struck Ukraine's southern city of Mykolaiv early on Tuesday, damaging at least 8 residential buildings and an underground water pipe in a park. The city authorities did not report any casualties. Demonstrations continue in Russia against President Vladimir Putin's partial mobilization orders. A group of protesters turned to traditional song and dance at a public square in Yakutsk in Russia's eastern Siberia on Sunday. Nearly 24 protesters were detained following the demonstration. Last week, Russian President Vladimir Putin launched a new mobilization campaign for the 7-month-old war. The head of the Russian Orthodox Church has said that Russian soldiers who die in the war against Ukraine will be cleansed of all their sins. Patriarch Kirill, a key ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin, spoke days after a partial mobilization of reservists ordered by Putin to bolster Russia's forces in Ukraine. Speaking from the Church of the Holy Rite, believing Prince Alexander Nevsky, Kirill said that the recruits die for the others, and hence the sacrifice washes away all the sins. The White House said on Monday that it is prepared to impose swift and severe economic cost on Russia if they annex the regions. Speaking a day before the voting ends on the Russian referendums in 4 Ukrainian territories, the White House underscored that the US will never recognize its territory as anything other than part of Ukraine. And now news from other parts of the globe. A rare state funeral for assassinated former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe took place on Tuesday. Dozens of foreign dignitaries, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US Vice President Kamala Harris, were among the 4,300 attendees.
With flowers, prayers, and a 19-gun salute, Japan honored slain former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on Tuesday. It was the first state funeral for a former premier in 55 years. The ceremony started at 2 p.m. local time, with Abe's ashes carried into the Nippon Budoko Hall in central Tokyo by his widow, Aki, to music from a military band and the booms of the honor guard salute that echoed inside the hall. In the hall, a large portrait of Abe, draped with black ribbon, hung over a bank of green, white and yellow flowers. Nearby, a wall of photos showed Abe strolling with G7 leaders, holding hands with children and visiting disaster areas. A moment of silence was followed by a retrospective of Abe's political life and speeches by leading ruling party figures, including Fumio Kishida and Yoshihide Suga, Abe's successors as prime ministers. Abe's widow, dressed in a black kimono, wiped away tears as Suga spoke. Diplomatic guests at the funeral included Prime Minister Narendra Modi, former UK Prime Minister Theresa May, US Vice President Kamala Harris, and President of the International Olympic Committee Thomas Bach, among others. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Moving ahead, NASA's DART probe has smashed into an asteroid, destroying itself in the process. The collision was intentional and designed to test whether space rocks that might threaten Earth could be nudged safely out of the way. DART's camera returned an image per second right up to the moment of an impact with the target called Dimorphos. Take a look.
spacecraft rammed an asteroid at blistering speed on Monday in an unprecedented dress rehearsal for the day a killer rock menaces Earth. The galactic Grand Slam occurred at a harmless asteroid 9.6 million kilometers away, with the spacecraft named DART plowing into the small space rock at 22,500 kilometers per hour. The anticipated orbital shift of 1% is expected to amount to a significant change over years. Scientists expected the impact to carve out a crater, hurl streams of rocks and dirt into space, and most importantly, alter the asteroid's orbit. DART's radio signal abruptly ceased after the impact. It will be days or even weeks to determine how much the asteroid's path was changed. The $325 million mission was the first attempt to shift the position of an asteroid or any other natural object in space. Monday's target, a 525-foot asteroid named Dimorphos. It's actually a moonlet of Didymos, Greek for twin, a fast-spinning asteroid 5 times bigger that flung off the material that formed the junior partner. The pair have been orbiting the Sun for eons without threatening Earth, making them ideal save-the-world test candidates. Launched last November, the vending machine-sized DART, shot for double asteroid redirection test, navigated to its target using new technology developed by Johns Hopkins University's Applied Physics Laboratory. DART's onboard camera, a key part of this smart navigation system, caught sight of Dimorphos barely an hour before impact. A mini satellite followed a few minutes behind to take photos of the impact. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And time now from all the latest from the world of sports. India looked to address death bowling concerns in final tune-up ahead of T20 World Cup. 3-match series against South Africa begins tomorrow in Thiruvananthapuram. Deepak Hooda has been ruled out of the series due to back spasms. Shreyas Iyer has replaced Hooda, while left-arm spinner Shehbaz Ahmed has been brought in for rested Hardik Pandya. Italy, who will miss a second consecutive World Cup again, found consolation in Europe as they won 2-0 in Budapest to edge Hungary for first place in their Nations League group. England rallied for 0-2 down to salvage a 3-3 draw against Germany in the Nations League. And chess world champion Magnus Carlsen has accused fellow grandmaster Hans Niemann of cheating, saying that he will not play against any rival indulging in such wrongdoing. And on that note, it's a wrap of today's bulletin. The news. Stay tuned to Sansad TV for all the latest updates round the clock. Do share your feedback on our programs through our social media platforms. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Namaskar.